Hey guys, what's going on? It's MassiveJoes RAW review, and I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Awesome! Raw review for the viewers at home today on an all new pre-workout supplement from an all new supplement company. They're called Outbreak Nutrition. It is, of course, Outbreak Nutrition virus in the house. Let's get straight into it, show you guys exactly what's in it, tell you exactly what it's going to do. That nutritional information panel ain't gonna get it done. We're about to go balls deep in this here Outbreak Nutrition virus. Fortunately, got ourselves a big ass nutritional information panel for the viewers at home. Dilip, go ahead and cut up that panel so the viewers can play along. Starting from the top, 7.6 grams per scoop. Got yourself about 28 of them 7.6 gram one scoop bitches in one of these Outbreak Nutrition virus bitches. In terms of what the 7.6 gram scoop is made up of, Outbreak Nutrition have been kind enough to fully disclose on their nutritional information panel everything that's in it and the amount, so we can do a quick summation, add up all of the active ingredients, discover that there's 4.682 grams of actives in a 7.6 grams scoop. So we're talking 62% active ingredients, 38% flavors, colors, and sweeteners. It is towards the higher end of what we like to see in pre-workout supplements, but it's 38% of 7.6 grams. So as an absolute number, it's not a whole lot. In terms of what the 7.6 gram scoop is made up of with the active ingredients, starting from the top, starting with taurine. 2,140 milligrams. Taurine, the amino sulfonic acid, improves muscular endurance, of course, improves cardiac function, so the function of your heart, and actually also has the ability to boost blood flow via vasodilation, help with nutrient and oxygen delivery to working muscles. The clinical efficacious dose of taurine is anywhere between 500 to 2,000 milligrams. In this here virus, they've gone 2,140 milligrams, so well above the upper range of the efficacious or clinical dose, whatever you choose to call it. Moving right along, we then move into Cymbidium Gorenji flower extract, aka nobile orchid, aka Choline. We've actually got a fantastic article on this ingredient on our website in Supplement Simplified. I will post a link in the description box. This is an adaptogenic herb. It helps boost physical performance through regulating energy production, and it also has the ability to boost blood flow via vasodilation, similar to taurine, help get nutrients and oxygen to working muscles. The clinical dose of Choline is 100 to 150 milligrams. There's 160 milligrams in this Outbreak Nutrition virus. So once again, over and above the upper range of clinical dose. Interestingly enough, we have seen Choline in supplements before, never in a pre-workout. This is the first time we've seen it used in a pre-workout. It tends to be used, as the name would suggest, Choline, nobile orchid, lean, in fat burning supplements, thermogenic fat burners. So first time we've seen it used in a pre-workout. Moving right along, we then get into one of my favorite ingredients at the moment, one of my favorite stimulants, Theobromine, and Outbreak Nutrition is using the patented registered T-cream version of Theobromine, the best Theobromine we've seen thus far. Theobromine, for viewers at home who are unaware, is a central nervous system stimulant. Similar to caffeine, it enhances physical energy, reduces fatigue, boosts psychological performance, but not similar to caffeine. It doesn't cause a crash, and interestingly enough, you don't build up a tolerance to theobromine like you do to caffeine. So you can run a very similar dose of theobromine for a very prolonged period of time and keep that dose. You don't have to keep ramping it up because your body doesn't build up a tolerance to theobromine like it does to caffeine. Some other cool things that theobromine does is it upregulates your dopamine receptors. So your dopamine receptors are able to receive more dopamine, which is going to primarily improve your mood. and also has the ability to reduce inflammation caused by strenuous exercise. The clinical dose of theobromine, anywhere between 25 to 50 milligrams, is kind of like the sweet spot for theobromine. In this here Outbreak Nutrition virus, they've got a massive dose of theobromine, 80 milligrams in this bitch. Huge dose of theobromine. Moving right along, we then get into caffeine. We just spoke about caffeine, 214 milligrams, obviously your central nervous system stimulant, going to enhance physical energy, reduce fatigue, boost psychological performance. Dosage for caffeine, 240 milligrams. Of viewers at home who are aware would know that is towards the lower end of what we're used to seeing caffeine content, caffeine quantity, especially for pre-workouts. Pre-workouts these days, the trend is to go higher and higher and higher with caffeine. Man, I've seen pre-workouts hit the market at the moment with like 400 plus milligrams of caffeine. For me personally, you guys know 300 milligrams is like my max, absolute max for a single sitting, single serve of caffeine. I personally like to see pre-workouts and thermogenics with lower amounts of caffeine. So 214 milligrams is a good dose of caffeine, in my personal opinion. Moving right along, and actually that's something you're gonna see with these next ingredients we go to. That was the first one, caffeine, 214 milligrams. There's some weird numbers in this Outbreak Nutrition virus. You've got like 321 milligrams, 107, 803, 428, 54. I'm gonna have to have a chat with them and ask them why they just didn't round them mother off. Anyway, moving right along, we then get into L-theanine. L-theanine, a nootropic amino acid, crosses the blood-brain barrier where it helps with mental focus. And interestingly enough, theanine in particular, the way it works in the brain is it's going to increase your ability to pay attention more than anything through its ability to help transmit nerve impulses in the brain. The other cool thing theanine does is it promotes relaxation without sedation. So it calms you, but doesn't make you feel sleepy, which is why we're seeing it used in pre-workouts a lot, especially pre-workouts that have a high amount of central nervous system stimulants that have the ability to give you the jitters side effect or the kind of anxiety side effect. When you combine them with L-theanine, L-theanine kind of acts in a way that, I guess the best way I can describe it is it kind of takes the edge off big stimulant formulas or high strength stimulant formulas. So good to see L-theanine in this here Outbreak Nutrition virus. In terms of your clinical dose, anywhere between 100 to 200 milligrams when combined with caffeine has the ability to take that edge off and have the nootropic effect. In this Outbreak Nutrition virus, they've gone over and above the upper range. Once again, 321 milligrams of L-theanine. Moving right along, we then get into another stimulant, theobromine. In a 107 milligram dose, theobromine, the extract, the bitter alkaloid of the cacao plant, that stimulant that we find in chocolate. Also a central nervous system stimulant, but in that regard, it's about 10 times weaker than caffeine. So quite a weak central nervous system stimulant. Funny note, I was actually having a discussion last night, believe it or not, about the caffeine content that's found in chocolate. It's not caffeine, it's theobromine. Theobromine is what's found in chocolate from the cacao plant and about 10 times weaker than caffeine as a central nervous system stimulant. Just on a side note, because I'm all about dropping knowledge bombs in raw reviews, viewers. Theobromine, the other things it does is it's actually a very good heart stimulant rather than a central nervous system stimulant. So it gets your heart to beat faster and beat stronger as well. Also dilates blood vessels and also acts as a diuretic, which is why we tend to see also theobromine similar to Choline in thermogenic fat burners rather than pre-workout supplements. The efficacious dose of theobromine is anywhere around 500 milligrams. In this Outbreak Nutrition virus, they're dealing with 107 milligrams. So however you're going to cut it, it is quite severely underdosed in its own right. Obviously, you have to look at it in combination with the other stimulants in this virus, but in its own right, quite significantly underdosed. Moving right along, We then get into some pump ingredient, Agmatine sulfate, in the form of Agmas, the trademark patented version of Agmatine sulfate, the best Agmatine sulfate we have seen thus far. Agmatine sulfate, a nitric oxide booster, inhibits the enzyme that breaks down nitric oxide, which means you're getting more nitric oxide because less of it's being broken down. Nitric oxide obviously going to help with vasodilation, improve blood flow to working muscles, improve nutrient delivery to working muscles, improve muscle pumps, vascularity, all of those delicious things we like to see from pump type ingredients. The efficacious dose for Agmatine sulfate, you probably don't want to go less than about 750 milligrams for it to be effective, and then you don't want to go above about 2,000 milligrams, else it's going to have you shitting through the eye of a needle. In this Outbreak Nutrition virus, they've gone towards the lower end of the spectrum, 803 milligrams. There is a very good reason for that I'll go through when I talk about the effects. Moving right along, we then move into another nootropic, choline butyrate. Choline butyrate is a salt of choline. It's choline combined with tartaric acid, which increases the stability and bioavailability of the choline. Choline, of course, is a nootropic. It crosses the blood-brain barrier where it helps with mental focus. In particular, it's a precursor to the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is specifically responsible for helping with memory, which is good because you're going to want to remember the gains you make on this Outbreak Nutrition virus, viewers at home. The clinical dose of choline in the form choline butyrate is you don't want to go less than 250 milligrams, but really to get good effects from choline when it's combined with tartaric acid, you need to get like 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams. They've only gone 428 milligrams in this Outbreak Nutrition virus, so it is towards the lower end of the clinical dose. Moving right along, we then get into another stimulant, hordenine hydrochloride, a central nervous system stimulant, boosts metabolic rate, reduces appetite. Once again, another ingredient that we're used to seeing in a thermogenic fat burner rather than a pre-workout. That's 3 now. 3 fat burning ingredients in this Outbreak Nutrition virus. In terms of the clinical dose of hordenine, 25 to 50 milligrams is considered effective. They've gone over and above the upper range with 54 milligrams. And finally, into another pump ingredient, GPLC, glycine propionyl L-carnitine hydrochloride, not the Glycomax version, just standard GPLC. This is, of course, a dual molecule, glycine bonded to propionyl L-carnitine, which means you get the benefits of L-carnitine, which is going to increase fat metabolism, allow your body to transport fat from fat cells into the mitochondria of muscle cells, where the fat can be used for energy, so you get the boost in fat metabolism. The glycine, of course, has the ability to increase nitric oxide, so you're going to get all the benefits of increased blood flow. Efficacious dose for GPLC is anything above 250 milligrams. In this here Outbreak Nutrition virus, they've gone 375 milligrams, so above the efficacious dose. Got yourself some artificial colors, artificial flavors. And that's what's in it. So it's interesting. On paper, as a pre-workout supplement, it's interesting. I've already touched on the fact that it has 3 ingredients that we'd tend to see in thermogenic fat burners rather than pre-workouts. And in fact, I'd probably go 4 because we got the orcholine, we got the theobromine, we got the hordenine, and really theocrine is more of a thermogenic fat burning type ingredient than it is really a conventional pre-workout type ingredient because of the thermogenic effect that it has also. So on paper, it's quite interesting. You've got something in there for muscular endurance, but not a whole lot, just taurine. There's no beta-alanine, there's no creatine phosphate or anything like that. You've got a bunch of stimulants. Half of them we tend to see in pre-workouts, half of them we tend to see in thermogenic fat burners. You've got some goodies in there for vasodilation, for muscle pumps. You've obviously got your Agmatine, your GPLC, and then you've got some cool ingredients for mental focus, the L-theanine and the choline butyrate. It is missing a couple of things from a conventional pre-workout perspective, It's missing something for muscle power. So there's no creatine, there's no Elevate ATP, nothing to help with muscle power in its own right. And it is missing something to help with muscle volume. So there's no hydromax glycerol, there's no trimethylglycine, there's nothing in there that's really gonna help with hyperhydrating muscles and helping with muscle volume. But on paper, quite an interesting pre-workout. Most of everything in there is over and above clinical dose, which we do like to see. There are a couple of things that are underdosed, but very unique pre-workout to say the least. In terms of how it tastes, how it mixes, comes in 2 flavors. Comes in my personal favorite, zoom and focus action please, the sour apple. Comes in my personal least favorite, the orange. You guys know I don't get down with citrus, so I'll tell you straight up, I immediately rank the sour apple above the orange flavor. Infamous MassiveJoes taste and mixability test about to go down. Got a double wall glass with a spoon. Got my own personal tub of virus. Of course, there's gonna be that sour apple flavor. Gonna take myself 1 scoop of this Outbreak Nutrition virus, 1 7.6 gram scoop. And I have to say they've done a great job with the scoops because they literally measure out at 7.6 grams. So good job, Outbreak Nutrition. Gonna take myself 1 scoop of this virus and sour apple. Throw this bitch in this bitch. And let it rain, let it rain. A few flicks of the wrist. Let me show you guys how it mixes and refresh my memory on how this Outbreak Nutrition virus tastes. All right, that's enough. So you guys can check that out if I can get some zoom and focus action, please. Pretty well mixed. There are some floaters in there that are actually gonna sink to the bottom. You can almost see that down the bottom there. So a few more flicks of the wrist is probably justified, but I would go so far as to say blender ball is not required for this here Outbreak Nutrition virus. Let me refresh my memory on how this sour apple tastes, man. The initial taste is really good. Really just a nice initial taste on the palate. The issue is there's 80 milligrams of theobromine in every scoop of this Outbreak Nutrition virus. For viewers at home who are aware of theobromine, who have tried theobromine generally is exclusively used in pill form or capsule form supplements. The purpose for it, but the reason for that is because it tastes horrible. And it has the ability to single-handedly destroy the taste of any supplement that it is put in. It's a horrible tasting raw ingredient. It's really very earthy tasting, very bitter in its own right. And you can definitely taste the theobromine come through in this Outbreak Nutrition virus, which is good because it shows you they're actually putting a massive dose in there, but it does kind of spoil that really pleasant initial taste, and it hits you with a very bitter, earthy aftertaste. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not the sort of thing that makes you want to, puke after you drink it, but it does. There's definitely a difference between a real pleasant initial taste and then a very earthy, bitter, theobromine focused aftertaste. As I mentioned, my personal favorite is the sour apple flavor. It does also come in the orange. I don't get down with citrus, so I go the sour apple every day of the week. In terms of the effects, because that's what you're taking the shit for. You guys couldn't give a single what it looks like on paper. Couldn't give a single what it tastes like. You can take that shit to the head if it's gonna work. My personal experience with this here Outbreak Nutrition virus has been pretty much mirrored by every single person here at MassiveJoes who has tried this, and we have discussed, as we do all new supplements, the effects that we have experienced with this particular product. And what the unanimous feedback that has come back is very good energy, very good sustained energy with no crash, which is fantastic. So you get good energy. The other exceptional thing that comes from it is, funnily enough, very good mental focus, which is strange because the choline is not particularly highly dosed. There is a lot of L-theanine in there, but the choline, which is really in there for the mental focus side of things, is not particularly highly dosed. And there are no other kind of mental focus ingredients. But it's one of those things where sometimes when you get the stimulant side of things just right, you can kind of hit the sweet spot with your nootropics and get really good mental focus. So that's another thing that we all reported was really good sustained energy combined with really good mental focus. Muscle pumps were reasonable, nothing exceptional. And I think the reason why I mentioned to you guys that the Agmatine that they put in this is towards the lower end of the spectrum. Outbreak Nutrition do also make a pump supplement which has been designed to be stacked with virus. And I think really in terms of maximizing muscle pumps, that's obviously how they've designed them, is to be taken together. And when you take them together, you get a massive dose of Agmatine, you get more GPLC, you get hydromax glycerol, you get all this other stuff that really is going to enhance the muscle pumps. But in its own right, the muscle pumps you get off virus are okay, they're not great. No real effect on muscular endurance. Not surprising, there's only taurine in there. There's no ingredients that really help with muscular endurance. So no real noticeable effect on muscular endurance. The one thing, peculiar thing, unique effect that everybody came back and reported on, and once again, not really surprising considering the ingredients that are in it, is the thermogenic effect is phenomenal. I mean, like, you get the sweats on this shit, man. Big time. It's when I was going through the ingredients, I said to you guys, it looks like on paper, you could confuse it with a thermogenic, with a fat burner. If you take out the pump ingredients, it really looks like a thermogenic fat burner. And the effects that we've all experienced really do kind of back that up. Is it's a thermogenic pre-workout. I can't cut it any other way. It's a thermogenic pre-workout, and I actually, so much so that I've even used it in place of my thermogenic, in place of my fat burner first thing in the morning before morning cardio, and absolutely loved it. as a thermogenic, as a fat burner, because it has that incredible thermogenic effect. It has really good long sustained energy, so you don't crash like you do on some fat burners. You get really good mental focus, so it makes you feel good first thing in the morning before you go do your cardio. So it really kind of sits almost halfway between a stimulant-based pre-workout supplement and a very good thermogenic fat burner, as a matter of fact. And it's really the first pre-workout supplement ever that we've seen that kind of sits in that space between the two, which is really quite unique. So just one thing to keep in mind is if you are going to pick it up and you are going to use it as a pre-workout, expect that you are going to get a significant thermogenic effect. You are going to sweat a lot on it. On the other side of things, if you want to try it as a thermogenic, expect that it's going to work very well as a thermogenic. I guess the perfect scenario is if you're looking for a pre-workout fat burner. So a supplement that, if your primary goal is fat loss, you don't want to take a thermogenic fat burner before your workouts, because you do want things like mental focus, a little bit of muscle pumps, a little bit of muscular endurance, rather than what you get from a thermogenic fat burner, which is just thermogenesis. Then that, I mean, virus is really gonna hit that nail on the head. The final thing that I will say, I've already mentioned the stackability. So Outbreak Nutrition do make a pre-workout pump supplement called Refuge, sorry, not Refuge, let's go with Serum, which is their pre-workout pump supplement, which stacks very well with virus and obviously enhances the pump side of things. So if you are going to use it as a pre-workout, in its own right, you really are going to get benefits from stacking it with Outbreak Nutrition's pump supplement. In terms of pricing, in the Australian market, you're looking $69.95 for 28 full serves. Is definitely not the sort of pre-workout that you're going to double scoop. You double scoop this shit, you may actually catch fire. So I don't recommend it. It's a single scoop, which has it down at $2.50 per serve, which is quite good in terms of pre-workout, quite good in terms of fat burner as well for the Australian market. But guys, if you're in the market for a very unique new pre-workout supplement that can be used as a thermogenic, can be used as a pre-workout fat burner, or can be stacked with a nitric oxide boosting muscle pump supplement that has been designed to be stacked with in its own right, you got to give yourself some of this Outbreak Nutrition virus a shot. Guys, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. Stay up to date with all the latest editions of MassiveJoes RAW review and all the other deliciousness in our YouTube channel. And guys, that is MassiveJoes RAW review on the all-new Outbreak Nutrition virus in the house. And I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay.